normal domestic environment that the most extreme violent behaviour emerged.
Yeti! 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 Over!
I don't think the film did have any easy moral answers. It didn't offer any easy solutions to the causes of this violence. But, you know, it certainly did take you right into the heart of it. And that's what Alan's work did at its best. It took you into a kind of heart of darkness in a way, in yourself. It explored those darker, vicious, more dangerous regions and made you feel uncomfortable. But then that's always been the drama at its best. Has never been frightened of probing those dark and difficult areas.
The Firm was to be Alan's last film. While setting up a feature film in Los Angeles called Assassination on Embassy Row, he was diagnosed as having cancer, and he returned to England.
Well, he invented this place called Croucho's, which was really his bedside, and he would take bookings as a sort of entertainment officer.
Why was it called Croucho's?
After Groucho's, wasn't it? And it was like a sort of meeting place where people, writers and directors would assemble, and rather unexpected people would arrive by the bedside, and you would meet people you hadn't seen for years. And it became like a sort of party that was going on, like something out of Evelyn Waugh, while this man, showing quite incredible courage, would sort of conceal his pain. And the television would always be on. It was the World Cup, and then people would stay the night, and there'd be descriptions of the World Cup sort of playing all through the night. And it was the most extraordinary scene. And then he seemed to die very suddenly. And one day I rang up and he'd died. Very, very moving death.
For a man whose whole life had been, you know, trying to give a voice to the people who aren't heard and deal with unfairness, it just seemed the crowning unfairness for Alan to be stopped when he was going so well. Just seemed, it was terrible.
There's nothing simple or succinct I can say about a man I knew for 17 years. But for those of us who knew Britain and Alan Clarke before Margaret Thatcher and John Major turned the country into a classless society, Alan's background and the kind of attitudes he brought with him into his work were very important. His portrayal of violence is not of the kind which is a cornerstone of the entertainment industry. He brought compassion, humour and understanding into situations where other filmmakers might simply invite you to hate. He never directed his actors to make moral judgments about the characters they played. There were no good guys, no bad guys, no heroes, no villains. As an ardent football fan, he might easily have made Gary Oldman's character in The Firm into an evil thug, but he didn't. He chose to make him into a respectable estate agent. He loved his friends, loved his family, and loved to slash the faces of people he hated with a Stanley knife. And then he left us to decide just how close that came to home. To us, the viewers, whom he deeply respected, to make our own judgments.
He became the best of all of us, I think. I mean, his work became more and more exceptional. And sort of, it became forbidding, and it did, I can see it did keep people away, and that isn't something that you should necessarily applaud, but it sort of became more and more magnificent and solitary and to be judged on its own terms. I would have thought, if you were to look at it, it must be the most extraordinary sort of monument to his life. Just like a man going uphill towards some sort of mysterious light. Very, very moving.
I want magic and miracles. I want a Jesus to come and change things again and show the invisible. And not let us keep forgetting, forging it in everything, kicking everyone. I want the surface up and off, and all the gold and jewels and light out on the pavements. I never spoke such a speech in my life. And I'm glad I have. If I keep shouting, somehow, I might escape.
Intelligent, sharp-witted, and with an overwhelming hatred of authority, can Trevor ever be reconciled with society?
We're not talking about honesty, we're talking about sticking to the rules. All those honest people out there are just sticking to the rules, but they lie and they cheat all the way.
2 simple lessons you're going to have to learn, DC or Borstal. 1, discipline. 2, respect for authority. You're going to have to learn it, so you might as well learn it now.
Made in Britain, directed by Alan Clarke. Tomorrow at 10:40 on Tube.